Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Astro Wanderer. Today, I have a fun episode for you and a witchy one as well. As I promised in the previous podcast episode, I really wanted to bring an episode encompassing like Samhain, or however it's pronounced. Forgive me if I don't pronounce it correctly, which is the Celtic festival of the dead and like the witches' New Year, how it become like now Halloween, what we commercialized as this crazy holiday that I think it's gone too far and too much into like the commercialize, and we're kind of losing why it first started. And then obviously we're gonna go deep and talk also about Scorpio season. No wonder that Halloween, witchy season, the witchy New Year is during Scorpio season, which is the sign that is ruled by Pluto, the god of the underworld, the planet of death, rebirth, and transformation. So we're gonna go down in all these topics. We're gonna go deep because that's what Pluto loves. But it's gonna be fun and light. I'm gonna be ring on my my Sag moon to bring some light and some it's more to go deep to discover how we can come back to these amazing like festivals that generation and generation of people celebrated, and how like people really were more connecting to nature than we are. Uranus is back soon in Taurus. So it's like, how can we take what we have learned during this transit with Uranus in Taurus coming back to the Mother Earth, and bring it into the next year where Uranus will move into Gemini? I was talking with the people in my program yesterday, and I think that in my obviously opinion and interpretation, I feel like with Uranus moving in Gemini, it's less about like going more online and all of that, but it's how we can really manage our relationship with social media, with the online community, and how we can bring those online spaces offline as well. Obviously, we are in the era of Aquarius as well, but with Pluto in Aquarius, so there will be new transformative, like also ways on how you communicate, how we see the online platforms and all of that, AI and all of that. But I think even if there will be the rise of technology more and more, I think it will be more to support us and less to harm us in a way. So I'm just going to put it out there. This is my personal opinion and interpretation. It's not the truth. If it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, don't. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. And before we get into the nitty-gritty of this episode, I also want to remind you that my calendar for November and December is open. This is the last chance to get my readings as the price that I initially put when I relaunched my business back in June. So if you've been thinking about having a reading with me, both astrology or astrocartography, this is the perfect time. And also, I will announce it a little bit later on the podcast and on my Dreamers letter, but I will give you some gift certificates if you want to purchase that and gift a reading to a friend. That could be a really good gift to a friend, a family member, a partner. I would love to like provide that for you. But yeah, if you're not in that yet, make sure to subscribe to my Dreamers letter. This is my intimate community. You will receive an email every Monday with some reflection, astro updates, and so much more. I send out some rituals as well, and so much more. So make sure to be in there to stay in the loop. All the links, excuse me, are in the show notes, both for the Dreamers letter and also for the astrology readings as well. But you can also find everything at luanabossetti.com. And I spell it for you. Luana is Luana, Bossetti, Bossetti. So you can find all the info about like my services and how to subscribe to the Dreamers letter, my freebies, and so much more there. So make sure to visit my website. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you are on YouTube watching this, make sure to press subscribe. That's how you will stay up to date to the podcast and rituals that I put on my YouTube community. There, and also like that's a way to support, if you resonate with what I'm saying, to support me as a creator, as a solopreneur, as a business owner. And so wherever you are watching this or listening to this, you can comment. That will really support me. You can let me know if you celebrate Samhain, Halloween, and also if you are a Scorpio, let me know. And make sure to leave a review, please, please, please. That will help me so much on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on all the platforms that you listen to podcasts. But having said that, like always, let's take a deep breath, a cup of whatever drink of your choice, and let's get started. All right, so we are in Scorpio season. Scorpio season started last week, and we are approaching to the Witches' New Year and Samhain, the Celtic Festival of the Dead. So it's really a good time to go deeper within yourself, first and foremost, to take a deep dive into the psyche, into shadow work, trauma work as well, not to relive the past, to relive the experiences, but to be able to go down and come back, bring these things to light so they can be healed. That's the purpose of Scorpio season. It's death, rebirth, and transformation. It's here to help us to transmute that pain into purpose. And remember that there is no light without darkness. There is no death without there is no birth without death, and all of that. So both are important. One cannot exist without the other. And Scorpio season is here to um, help us recognize that is the cycle of life, or the circle of life, as the Lion King like famous song. But this is the time to really change. It's a season to go inward, to reflect why we are here, like why you are where you are in your journey. It's really an introspective time, because I want to remind you, sometimes Scorpio has a bad rap because it's like mysterious. It's like, as the scorpion, it has this armor, but at its core, it's this water sign. So it's very sensitive, it's very psychic. So it's really important to use the energy of this season to support your growth and to really let go, so you're able to like come out of that in Sagittarius season as a new version of yourself. So it's no wonder that this festival of Samhain was decided to be in this Scorpio season. So let's go back to what it is. So Samhain is really an ancient Celtic fire festival, and it marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the winter, what they call, because the harvest was done, even if it was not really winter in nature, like what we see now, the 21st of December, if you are in the Northern Hemisphere. But it's this festival was celebrated on the night between the 31st of October to November 4th. First, they celebrated there because the Celtic cross-quarter calendar says it was halfway between the autumn equinox, that it's called Mabon, and the winter solstice, the Yule. So this is really half that, and then it was really the time to really celebrate the Celts and many ancient population. They were really living in the rhythm with nature. So this is really was the death of the old year, the death, like the end of the harvest, and the rebirth of something new. And always it was celebrate the dead because they were very wise, and they were aware that there's no ending without a beginning, and vice versa. There's no light without darkness. So they were really able to appreciate both um, both polarities. So Samhain, it's an old Irish word, and it really meant the end of the summer. So this is a good time because it's really, it says that it was the time where the veil was really thin between the physical world where we are and the spirit world. So that's why they were able to help, like the spirits of the ancestor and the dead in that time could easily cross over, and they were really honor this transition, honor the people that once were here on this earth moving into like the spirit world again. So they really honor the departed loved ones. They give them offerings, food, drinks, and fire. This is not a time to fear. It was a really great time to, like, sacred time of connection and reverence, because again, they were connecting with nature, but they also knew that without your ancestor, you could not possibly be here. So they were really honoring death as like not an ending, but as a rebirth. They were celebrating this festival. It was very fun. Some people might still do that with Halloween, but I think, and I will talk more about later, and I said at the beginning, it lost its spark a little bit as well. They were doing bonfires like at the top of the hill so they could honor, like the gods, honor the ancestor and offer protection. They had a lot of like torches, light, and they carried them home to really honor this. They were doing a lot of like community feast, and they were leaving symbolically empty seats for the ancestor because they knew that it was a celebration of both the dead and the people that were alive. And they were using a lot of divination tools like runes, scrying, tarot, or ritual that can help them really let go and start have a glimpse into like what they wanted to manifest in the future. And why turn into Halloween? Because some people were actually wearing like disguises or masks because they wanted to like confuse the spirits that were a little bit wandering, mischievous, that they did not have direction. So that's why I think then it became Halloween with all these masks and all these things. Also, if we look at witchcraft and modern paganism, Samhain is often considered the witch's new year, the most sacred of the 8 Sabbats in a wheel of the year. And for the witches, this is a powerful portal because it's again a moment of inner death and rebirth, like mirroring the earth that was descending into winter, into darkness and rest. Again, the witches as well were honoring the ancestor and spirit guides. They were doing shadow work to release what no longer served them. They were doing deep introspection, transformation, magic, ritual of protection, divination, and remembrance. It's like I want really to understand that always say I'm a proud witch, and I'm the daughter of the witches that they didn't burn at stake. Maybe in the past life I was born at stake, who knows? But I really feel that, like, really, there is such a negative connotation to the word witch. But actually, if we go back to the very beginning, it was a person that was connected to the rhythm of nature. We were all witches or wizards at that time. We just need to remember how we can connect with nature and let go of all the comforts that we have right now that sometimes bring us out of like this earth that we live in. So this is really important to remember. And then, how did we go from Samhain, a sacred ritual festival, to Halloween? So, when Christianity and the church spread across Europe, the church decided to establish All Saints' Day on November 1st and All Souls' Day, or that day, depending on the type of church, on November 2nd, because they wanted to replace those pagan rites because they thought they were evil, but actually, they were doing the same thing that people do at church to connect with the other world, to connect to something greater than themselves. They were also in church, you also pray for your ancestors. You go to the cemetery to really like give, like, um, connect to them as well. So the night before this Saints' Day became All Hallows Eve. That blended a little bit the Samhain tradition, but then became very commercialized, what we call now Halloween. So the bonfires like became candles and pumpkins. The offering became like treats for the kids or for the people, and the disguise and the mask became costumes. So there is still like, even if it's so commercialized, there is still the ancient energy of Samhain that lingers beneath all the superficial things, because it's really a night when the magic stirs, the spirits whisper, and we remember that death and rebirth, death and life are forever entwined, because there's no one without the other. So I really want to invite you to, yes, maybe you love celebrate Halloween, the commercialized thing, and that's good. But remember to like the real meaning of that. I always say like we don't have like to go back to how people lived, because obviously the human species is evolved, but we need to reconnect what's really important, what's at the core of that. And Scorpio season, it's perfect for that, because Pluto wants to like kind of like, imagine you have this soil full of weed. You need to actually take all the weeds off to be able to plant something. And that's the same. Scorpio is really here to tell us, okay, let's remove all the trauma, all the like shadows, and pay like really be grateful for them, because we wouldn't be here without those, but also come back to the light as well. So I want you this year to really remember this like sacredness of this festival, and throughout all Scorpio season. That is why I prepared a freebie for you with a ritual to come back to the energy of this Samhain festival, and to remember and honor both death and life. So I prepare a ritual for you to cleanse, to connect with your ancestors and all of that. I think this is very powerful and also very personal. So that's why I'm not going to do it here on the video. However, you will be able to find the ritual in the show notes. It's free. You just have to like download it, sign up, and download it, and that will be good. You can do the ritual either on the 31st of October. Obviously, that will be the peak energy of this festival. But throughout all Scorpio season, you can do that. Scorpio season will run actually until I think it's November 22nd or 23rd. So you have that time, but I invite you to do it before, because then on November 21st, we have a new moon in Scorpio, which is actually a good, very psychic new moon that will can help you like to plant the seeds. But remember, you cannot plant the seed if your soil is full of weed and contaminate. So really important. The ritual is free, because I really feel like I want to give it as a gift for you to really come back home to yourself, which is my mission, and then you can create the life that you desire. So make sure to go on the show notes to grab your ritual. And remember that in the Astro Wanderer community, we always do free and paid events. Every like second Sunday of the month, we do a free ritual for you, where I come in, I give you my hands-on readings for all of you. And then on the new moon, that next new moon falls on the 21st November, I do a new moon ritual. And this one in November will be special, because it was not only me, it won't be only me, but I will collaborate with another amazing witch and spiritual mentor. So make sure to be in my dreamers letter to sign up for that. But yeah, I wish you a lovely end of October, everybody, and happy Samhain, happy Halloween. And I will come back November with astrocartography. November, the topic of the podcast will be astrocartography. I want to end the year on like something that is out there, but not so much. And it's one of my favorite tools. So make sure to come back on the podcast next week from November, actually, to 5th. It's the first episode of November with astrocartography. And I wish you all a beautiful week. Peace and love. Ciao.